Got drinks, got smoke, got weed, got all the girls, got everything we need. And I see them all, but who brought the fat girl? Drink another, smoke another, get retarded. I know this where the party is, so get this bitch started. And if you want some liquor, girl, you can go and lick a girl. Get in it, pop till like 6 in the morning. Come break it down.
Sup, Daniel son?
Yo,
Oh, what's up? What are you guys doing?
What's going on?
How's
Right
your
here,
weekend?
waiting on.
okay. How's my
Waiting on
weekend?
Daniel like usual.
Filled with a lot of work. Filled with work. Yeah, filled with work and volunteering. We took some pizza. Took him some pizza.
Ooh,
One of them-
nutritious.
Oh, that's always good.
Yeah,
Pizza
yeah,
pie.
yeah. There's some things going on right there. It's been tough for them. A lot of personal issues. So it was fucking the best I could do was pizza. I can't do much more. I mean,
No, it's all right.
it was really lightens the mood, and we just kind of kill whatever class we're doing and just kind of talk and ease them up.
Beggars
And
can't
they-
be choosers.
They made us do a as we were walking out. They made me and the other volunteer do like a presentation because the firefighters didn't want to do the presentation for these kids that were doing community service.
Well, it was too hard, or what?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And they're like, they did the community service or whatever, and they didn't want to do the presentation for them. So they ended up catching us walking outside. They're like, "Hey, you guys from behavioral health?" We're not from behavioral health. We're like from something else. And we're like, "No, but yeah, sure, we'll give the presentation." So that was pretty cool. Just staring at a bunch of kids who don't want to be there, just as much.
What was the presentation?
It was about the program and what we do, and
Oh,
we basically explained to them what the program was about. And then I was like, yeah. And then I always deviate from the topic, and I was like, yeah. And then one day you get to the point where you realize where you have one foot in the past and another foot in the future, and you're shitting in the present. and then everybody looked at me like, oh shit. Everybody started laughing. And I was like, I realized where I was at, and I was like, okay, I gotta keep it more formal.
Yeah, tell me to PG.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oops, I watched the language.
That was cool.
You
But,
know,
man,
you got to be yourself.
yeah. So it was cool. It was personal. It showed me that you just be yourself, as long as you don't say anything too inappropriate like that. But it's,
Yeah.
hey, sometimes it calls for it. Hey, nobody
Yeah.
in there was a saint anyway, so
Nah.
Exactly. Like in prison.
so yeah, so that's cool. But just work.
Well, for me, I was in Vegas 4th of July, and then on Saturday we came back. Basically on Friday, we hung out with you for a while. Basically did nothing. Had a couple beers and
Nice.
some pizza.
What you
Courtesy
mean
of Beto.
nothing? It was a little poolside. Oh, well, the day
No, I
after
mean
was.
on what was it on Friday, right? On
Yeah.
Friday. No, on Thursday we definitely hung out. And, I had some drinks at the pool, and that DJ was horrible though.
Where? What pool?
Yeah,
At
bro.
Treasure Island.
Oh,
Treasure
nice.
We were trying to relive our past.
Yeah, we were trying to relive the
Yeah.
old glory days, but nah,
Yeah.
they weren't working, man. The drinks were hitting hard, a little too hard, but
Yeah.
they were good though. But they're
You know, when
little
when the DJ shows up, 50 years old with gray hair, it's not gonna be a good. It's not gonna be a good, but he
Yeah,
tried.
yeah, definitely.
yeah, he had a couple,
tried.
a couple songs, but no, his mixing wasn't up to par, up to DJ Saint status.
He's having a little bit of drug issues right now. I just said, hear him out.
I don't know about that.
He was on a good one.
He's
He probably
struggling right now.
was.
More like a midlife crisis, but.
I know, right?
But then, we came back on Saturday, and then we just hung out. We watched some fights. We watched the Nate Diaz and Masvidal fight.
Oh, that was
You know,
actually pretty
which,
good.
It was actually, for what it was good. The other fights too, they weren't too bad. And
Yeah.
so we just hung out basically, and my mom made some barbacoa.
Oh yeah.
And then,
Okay.
and then
Menudo.
on Sunday she made what's that? On Sunday, yeah, she made some menudo. That
With
was
the
bomb.
two-peat, man.
Yeah,
Actually,
Jesus
that
Christ.
was back to back.
It was good.
Menudo at 110-degree weather.
Don't
I
trade
don't
it.
know
We're in
about-
the AC.
I don't know
We can
about
enjoy
that.
it somewhat.
Hey, and for some reason I feel fresher though after that. I'm like, all right, I have a seat and I have the Coca-Cola right after.
I just don't like that. Like I don't know. I feel like I have like a certain breath, with all the spices.
Oh
and
hell
stuff.
yeah! Oh hell yeah,
yeah.
dude! It's gonna be
Onion
all
breath.
day. And then
You know
you're
what? I
sweating,
actually,
smelling weird.
That's a good story right here. I lost my virginity, and the woman she had eaten menudo. I was
what?
kissing her. I could
What?
smell it.
Oh.
It was the best experience. But,
That's a good sport.
It is
You're a
what
good
it is.
sport.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
It was my first time.
Yeah.
I was grateful.
No,
you know what I
no
mean?
means of comparison.
Yeah,
You said woman like she's 50 years old. How old is she?
Well, she was older. She was older than me at the time. I'll tell you that. She was, you know, she was. I don't know if she had experience, but she was definitely older than me.
I think it's
So,
funny.
that's older.
I just think it's funny when I'm like out in public and I say woman, that woman.
That
What's wrong
woman.
with saying woman? I'm gonna say
Yeah,
girl.
it
That
just
sounds like a
it sounds
pervert and
funny.
shit.
Yeah, it sounds
Oh
funny.
yeah, but you were young yourself, so you said the girl at the time.
Yeah,
that-
but she was
oh,
still a
the
woman. You know what I mean? Yeah, gotta give her some credit. You know.
Funny.
Not a girl yet, still a woman. Go ahead.
What about you?
So, well, I just kicked it with Ivan. Party, got some drinks, you know. Got a headache after, but it's all right.
Yeah,
It
what's
is what
up with
it is.
that? Yeah, and we were supposed to
Oh.
watch the fireworks, and that didn't work out.
No?
I passed
That
out.
didn't happen.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Oh,
got too
shit.
drunk. You know, the sun hitting you in the pool and you're drinking, and
Oh,
then you walk
yeah,
the
that doesn't
strip.
Oh, but you
and-
guys were there from the day, huh?
Yeah, well, we
Yeah.
What time did we go to the pool? Like at 12, right?
yeah, like
That'll
that's
get you.
Yeah, it was at
Sun
12.
was
and then the
beaming.
It was beaming. It was super hot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we just hung out, and then we went to go gamble. We were winning, you know,
Nice.
back and forth, back and forth. We were playing.
Yeah.
Shade fell in with that. What's the name of that game that Wolf blows? I don't know,
Yeah,
something
the
that's
Wolf
the name of
blows.
it, but yeah. She wanted to go back downstairs when we got to the hotel room to go play more and watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
But nah, just once I lay down, and I was done.
Hey,
I
all
like
of a
the
sudden
buffalo.
she's gonna be tapping the screen.
Like
we
the-
were doing that, bro.
the
It was
magic
funny
code and
because
shit.
it was funny because she was playing a game where you like you get like a coin and then one of the birds eats it and the bird gets fatter, right? And she was up like pretty good. She was up like $100, and every time she would like hit a win, we slap her on the back. She was like, "Stop already!" We just fucking cheering, making a scene. You know, she wins like $2. We're yelling and shit. Ah, yeah. But then she fucking lost it all.
Aw.
I know.
Terrible.
I won $100, and then I let her gamble, and she lost like 80 of it.
Yeah, some just don't have the sauce. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
No, but
I
she
don't know when to
she
stop.
never
won.
win.
She won a little bit.
Yeah, I just can never win. Every time I play, I don't win. I don't know if it's because I already say I never win, but
No, you just gotta find
not
your
something-
game. I like that Buffalo game. We didn't find the Buffalo game though, right?
Yeah,
Did
we
you see
did.
it or no?
I wasn't hitting in the Buffalo.
Oh,
I
you
love
weren't?
the Buffalo, but I wasn't hitting for me, dude. So
No?
the Huff and Puff was hitting, but
Yeah, oh, there you go. The Huff and
Yeah.
Puff. That was.
yeah, but
Wish
that's
I
what
was
it is.
Huff and Puff. No.
That's gambling. You win some, you lose some.
No, yeah, definitely. But it was all around a good time.
nice.
And then
Yeah.
we took care,
What-
some business over there, personal business.
Oh,
We got,
Okay, personal business.
went to went to an interview, and
Nice,
then
nice.
Shade went to an interview. Because we're moving soon.
Yeah.
Less than a month away. We're gonna be heading up to Vegas. Permanently.
Can't
We
can't
up there.
wait. We get to set up a
Definitely.
good studio in your new place.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm
We're
gonna
gonna
have a
set it up.
little man cave, slash personal
Yeah.
room there. So I have
Nice.
the big screen,
So-
and all that. So
That
It'll
does
be a better
numbers for your
setup.
health.
definitely I need that
Uh,
privacy, that quiet time. Definitely.
so let's get into this. Speaking of older woman that you slept with, at what age?
I am.
I think Daniel's still young. Daniel, what are you? 25?
Yeah.
Yeah.
25.
25.
At what point in your life do you feel like you grew up? Like you went from a kid to a man?
And my dad passed. When
When your dad passed?
because that was when all the fun was truly over. Like prior to that, like there was always like home issues, but I mean, what's a little home issues is part of it. It's very rare when you meet people who had a perfect household, this or that, So, but I think the death and the premature death and I just wasn't equipped yet, I wasn't
you
seasoned.
were forced into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Basically, yeah, forced into growing up, and like it just hit me all of a sudden that life was not. It really was not forever, and that's when like you hear from the adults all the time, hey,
Like the party life wasn't forever, or just life in general?
life in general, and the way that I thought about life,
Okay.
because when you're prior to that, I guess you get older in a normal. There's no normal situations, but some people get older and they reach a certain age, and then people start passing away. It's normal. They reach a certain age, but when it's a premature death, it really disrupts a lot of things. Especially, I was in high school, so that was really, really weird. And all of a sudden, I looked around, and everybody was living a normal life, and my life had suddenly just everything crumbled in quickness, So then I looked, and I think it just hurt even more because I saw a bunch of kids having fun, And I was like, I can't fucking have fun right now. The only thing I can do is think about chasing the pain away of what I'm feeling, because again, I was ill equipped and stuff. And there's just some things that a man starts to learn as they go on, and you realize that things aren't forever, and it's okay to let go. But if you don't tend to receive that information just early on in your life unless you go through something traumatic. So I think that's
Yeah.
when I was just forced into it. I mean, growing up as the process of, it's like if God went like this and blew on me, and then I just suddenly just started what I thought was like falling, like ding, 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 like when Alice in Wonderland falls down that well into the other world.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I just poof poof hit the floor, and I was like, okay, I finally got to the deepest point where I was gonna be, and then just looking around and seeing what I was gonna do after that.
And it's
You
crazy
know?
because you
Yeah.
were so young, and especially when you're that young, I mean, any type of trauma you're not really prepared for in life. But I think as you get older, you expect, your loved ones to pass away or certain
Yeah,
things to
yes.
happen. But when you in your case, you were a
Mhm.
teenager, just boom, all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
So
there
that's
wasn't
unexpected.
there wasn't no warning either. There wasn't no warning. Well, there were some things, yes, but there was no real warning. It wasn't like this person was sick. My father wasn't sick.
Right.
It was something that
Yeah.
happened, and so I think that was the deepest hit. And then all of a sudden, I was like all worried about. Well, I was worried about my own sad feelings, and then I was worried about people dying around me. So that's when I got, like, I guess growing up for me, when they ask me growing up, is like awakening. Like, when did I become aware of that I'm living? Really, really aware.
Mhm.
Because you know that you're living. You're in high school. You're having fun,
You
but
were
you
in a
don't
fucking
really
fantasy
grasp.
land.
Yeah, you don't grasp. You make what you fucking drink. Well, for me, I was drinking already at 8 a.m. Already planning on just in school. To me, there was no consequences. Anything. There was still
Yeah.
there was. It wasn't. I mean, I think also I could say, like, when I got the felony. When I got the felony, I was like, nah. Even that, no, it was when my dad passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
and when
when I
you
remember.
because when you got out of rehab, you went back to
Mhm.
El Centro to live with my mom. Um, at what point did you say, like, I gotta go start my own life and go to Florida? Like, what
Okay.
was that like?
When I was living at home and there was no way to repair all the damage that I'd done, the only way to repair the damage that I have done in relationships and everything was to leave, because I needed time. And time here would be that I wasn't able to grow in a certain way, because everybody's really worried. I just got out of something. So everybody's really worried about where I'm going, what I'm doing, and that excessive worriness can come in between my own growth. And so, like, there's things that you have to learn in your own flesh, especially when you've done heavy drugs and you start to try to live your life after that, to not go back to that, and how to like maintain without having to, like, absolutely live in a boring life, because there's
Yeah.
extremes, but um I needed to go. It wasn't a being here. Also, being here, I already knew where everything was at. I already knew who I could call, and at
Yeah.
those stages,
The conecta.
I already knew where they stayed, what the deals were, and everything. And so, that thought of it weighed down too much on me. It was way too much weight for me to bear. The thought, I wasn't strong enough yet. I still haven't formed a lot of foundations, because one thing is rehab, and then another thing is starting to use all the tools. And to use all the tools, you have to get hurt sometimes. You're gonna freaking, when you're beating the nail to whatever you're constructing, sometimes you're gonna hit your thumb, and you're gonna have to find the ways to not hit your thumb so that you don't hurt yourself. But the only way to do that is to use the tools that you were given. So, and so, like, that's the other side of the coin of recovery, is the fucking up. It's part of it. And so I just couldn't
Yeah.
fuck up here, because it was not a place to fuck up. I already knew fucking up here would be different than if I was fucking up in Florida. Fucking up in Florida would be that I didn't go to work because I was just really tired, and I wasn't used to the hours that I was working. So that would be where
Yeah.
I was fucking up. But here, fucking up would be hitting the connect and going to a place that I already knew. Nobody would know. I could get away with it and just keep it hidden. But so that's when I really needed. I needed
Did
to go,
you
and I needed to be
and
time away from family.
and when you hit Florida, like, and you
I hit
realize, like,
Texas
fuck,
first.
oh yeah, you hit Texas first. Well,
Yeah,
when you
Dallas
were
and then
out,
Houston.
when you just went out there and you're like, okay, this is real life. Like, I gotta pay rent, I gotta pay my phone bill, I gotta pay gas, I gotta pay food. Like, how did that hit you? Because you're not prepared for that as a kid. You weren't prepared for that.
Okay, so you go full force into it, and then you're like on a cloud, on a pink cloud, you call it, la nube rosa, and then you're like, cool, it's fun, and it's fun, and then all of a sudden, if you are getting help from people and stuff like that, the funds start going out, and people will only help you so much. So and then it's up to you to do what you need to do after that. First they're like, okay, I gave you the bottle, you're here now. So after that faded away, and obviously there was decisions made on the way from Texas to Florida, and I still had a kid mindset. So I was thinking that I was going to live it large, and it wasn't like that. I had the fun of my life, yes, and I saw a lot of things, but in between that was a lot of long hours of work, and sometimes the fridge wasn't too full, and I was like, damn, I didn't have fruit. Fruit became a luxury. That's when you know you're fucking down bad. When fruit and vegetables become a
cup of
luxury,
noodles.
right?
Yeah.
And you have water and a fucking Little Caesars pizza that's been in there.
I remember when I used to live with my dad. There was always like, there was just stuff to make sandwiches, and there was always frozen food.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
Yeah.
it was because that's all he could afford, or it was just that was his nutrition.
Yeah, and sometimes
I think that was just a simple way of doing things. I don't think
Yeah.
it was too. Yeah, I don't think it was the
Conscious.
money. I think it was just like,
Well, he's a little tight too, but
yeah, but I don't think it just wasn't like he didn't have the cooking in him, So he's
right.
that's what he was, is fucking frozen burritos and fucking sandwiches. And I mean, I remember
Remember those
I
frozen
remember
burritos
being
I used to
there.
make with the
Yeah,
Dude,
put
you
a
can
little
only
piece
do
of
those
cheese on top of it and some
spaghetti
spaghetti
sauce on top. Ooh,
Yeah.
that was kosher right there.
Damn.
It came
freaking
through. Now that I think
fatties.
about it, I don't think I would eat that no more. But definitely at the time, it came through.
It does a number to you though, dude. Like you get to a certain point where it's like, no, I need to.
Well, you're
eat
eating,
clean.
stuff with preservatives. I mean, you're gonna feel like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if you're not working out, or you're not sleeping right. You know what I mean?
They make you skinny fat. Those fucking shits
Yeah,
make
they
you
do.
skinny fat.
They do
Like
definitely.
Just give you a
really
belly.
went into that because I was living like that in Florida, and then I got to reach the point where I was like skinny fat, and it was even sadder because I was like, I just didn't like how I look, and it was because of my diet. That was another thing. Like I was living a diet, I was having a diet of a lower income. Also, when you're working a lot and you're not really at home, and you're just really trying to make ends meet. It was like, all right, fuck it, you eat whatever, or I'm eating at the restaurant, and what do they have? Fried food sometimes, most of the
Or you're
time.
skipping meals.
Yes,
Or you're not eating
skipping
snacks in
meals.
between.
Yes,
Yeah,
skipping
nutrition.
meals, man. I had to. They really.
People don't understand
issue.
how important good eating is, clean eating, because if you don't, you're not going to function at
Yeah.
work. When you're if you have kids, hanging out with kids, and have the energy to hang out with them, with your family or your wife, significant other, it does affect you.
That's part of growing up. That's a real part of growing up, is to like finally come to terms with, I can't keep eating like this or living like this, and things have to change. And it's gonna be fucking hard to change it, and it's gonna be like, I didn't like going to Florida, I didn't really like it at first, but I'm really deep inside me, I knew that it was never gonna be forever, but I could really use. It put me ahead of a lot of things. I've ran into rental situations, people, dealing with people, being on my own, not having my family around, so decisions were to be made in a right way, because that could mean, well, who's gonna come through and shoot somebody for me,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
unless thankfully I did make friends around there, and the white people that were there, the country folk, they weren't not all of them racist, and some of them were really cool, some of the most loyal people that I met, and I really loved that it was like a lot of patriotism, so
Yeah.
it was cool. And you also see the bright side of living alone, is that just because you're alone doesn't mean that there's not people over there who are also alone and value people, but they're alone because they don't want to deal with people. But if they see some cool people, they're like, all right, cool, like we kind of got each other, form a community and whatever. So
Sometimes we
yeah.
don't tend to grasp that there's other folks, that have the same problems or even worse problems, until you talk to people, and then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're on the same boat,
mm-hmm.
so you can relate to them. And then I think for you, it was kind of it was a sink or swim.
Yeah,
Either you survive over
Yes.
there, because I can remember, I think I brought it up before, where I basically let you know, hey, bro, you're making my life too difficult.
Yeah.
So I love you,
Yeah.
but I can't deal with you anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why you left, and then you swam.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
did what you had to do, and you came back with a much better mindset.
Yeah.
Proud of you for that, bro.
And the
Yeah.
way that I saw it, thank you. The way that I saw it is like sometimes you have to put yourself through that suffering. At the time, I didn't have anything to do. I didn't have anything to lose. It was 2020, so whatever. I did it, and it was a lot of struggle, like you said. But at the end, it was a lot of reward because now I got back, and I knew how to deal with shitty employers. I knew to just value myself and also value my work ethic too. Because like
Yeah.
in a big city, you're replaceable by anybody. So you gotta fucking haul ass. You gotta make sure you haul ass because there's always someone to getting your position, And so that's the culture, and especially if you're in like a city that's more moved around, and also you gotta just make sure that what you're doing, where you're going, is right because there's nobody to come take you out of anything,
At the
So
same time that you like left and you found your own way, like I think a lot of your struggles were a lot of things were given to you. Do you feel that way? Like
Yes.
as growing up as a kid, like my stepdad would always like, oh, Daniel wants this, or we'll
Yeah.
take care of him, whatever he wants. I think there was a lot of babying, and you leaving at a young age, like after rehab, like I think that was the best thing for you because if you would have just
Mhm.
stayed at home and just given you, the same treatment, you probably would be worse or something. Would have gotten
Yeah,
a ray, right?
I was already relapsed, and actually, I was smoking fentanyl at Enzo's house, and that was like the last straw.
When you got out of rehab,
Yeah. But like
Oh, wow.
I got back into it, and I was like, that's why I left. That's why I had there was
Dang,
no
my boy.
choice.
no choice.
There's no choice.
Get him a
There's-
little slap behind the head for me for that one.
No,
What's going on?
dude. I told him,
Enzo, what's wrong with you?
Never
What's
ever
wrong with
again.
you,
But
Enzo?
I remember he was the last person to open their door. He was the last person to open their door, and
And you should be grateful he opened his door.
Yeah, 100%.
Close
but
that
that's-
goddamn door.
But that's to the
On his
extent,
face.
that's to the extent that I was like, okay, this isn't gonna fucking work out here. I'm still attached to this substance. I still haven't lived enough to like. I need to get back out there, and I need to like complete because it was like, if I didn't know where, if it was out of sight, out of mind, but it was always in my mind there because I had so many memories, and they all just flushed back at once, and there was a lot of things, And so he was the last person to open the door, and then I got kicked out.
Yeah,
Out of
kick his
out
ass
of
out.
Enzo's
Enzo.
house?
Yeah, so that was
Who kicked
it.
you out? His mom? Or?
No, he did.
Oh, he did.
He
Oh.
did. He did.
Oh,
Good for
damn,
him.
He
Enzo.
smelled.
Good for
Yeah.
you, Enzo. Good for you.
He smelled the
shit.
fentanyl. He smelled it, and then I just couldn't hide it, and so he. Was
Oh,
like,
he didn't
"You
know.
gotta
He
go."
didn't know that you were doing it.
Yeah, he knew.
Oh,
but
okay.
it was like
Out
you
of
do-
sight, out of mind. Like
you do you, man. But
Just don't fuck
do
up my
it-
shit.
Don't do it in my house,
Okay, gotcha.
And I
Yeah.
No
and I-
respect, bro.
yeah, and I went to the restroom, and I was like, "Fuck it," and then and he was like, "Yeah, the fuck out." So I'll get the fuck out. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Fuck it." So then that was like, now I've got kicked out of everywhere. So it was like, well, I really fucked it up this time, and there's no going back. The only way that I was gonna go back is to where like, I would probably have to go back to rehab, and I didn't want to do that. And I was like, okay, grasp reality. I was like, what can I do? So I hit up my homie. He had a possibility. It wasn't even a for sure. It was a possibility. But I was like, I'll fucking take it.
Yeah.
I'll take the possibility, whatever. But I need to get the fuck out of here. And so I did, and it was great. Best decision I could have done for myself, and
That's good.
all because I trusted myself. But and I tell people, if you're trying to move out, there's always people going to tell you no, but it's always up to you to make your decisions. And if you feel it, man, just do it, because I mean, we aren't dumb. Who's gonna know what's best for us other than us, at the end of the day.
And sometimes people don't support you because they don't want you doing better than them, and that's not always good.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of figure it out by yourself, and because I supported you at rehab, but it was just so damn expensive. And
Yeah.
at some point, I just thought it's ultimately, he learned the tools. It's ultimately up to you, to either go with it or fix yourself or not. Because the rehab, if you don't want to change, the rehab wasn't gonna help.
Yeah,
It wasn't gonna give
definitely.
you the tools, but
Yeah.
if you don't want to change it, so
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that was the next part. So the next part was just learning and going to fuck up.
That's good. Ivan, what about you? When
What's
did
up?
you got into the Air Force like right after high school, no? Or pretty close?
No. I wasn't going to the Marines actually right out of high school, but then I listened to my uncles and
bless.
my parents, and they're
God
like, no,
bless.
you're gonna be a government slave, you're gonna get killed over there. But obviously, there's way more other jobs than just being a grunt or being
Yeah.
a soldier or a Marine and fighting. There's so I got out of it. I was 17 and a half and I got out of it. And basically I was just living the typical Valley life, partying, going. I was going IVC.
Hey, financial.
At first, I was doing good in school, but then you get that. That's when they used to give you those financial aid checks,
Yeah.
and I was buying. And I was buying dumb shit with it. I was buying rims and systems, and
Yeah.
buying bottles for everybody at the club. And
Yeah.
so I started
me.
affecting my grades.
Hold
And
up,
then
hold up.
that's
I spent my check at the strip club. Not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
lie.
Dude,
Not gonna lie.
man,
Not gonna
you
lie.
and half the fucking valley, dude.
Yeah, sure,
At Casona, bro.
I got all the boys together and we're like, let's go, dude. We're going.
You the fucking homie, dude.
terrible.
And the thing about that is,
terrible.
like, when you dish out so much money, like you never, you don't get it in return. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was the one with
Yeah.
the car, so I would take everybody everywhere. I was buying bottles, and when it came back to, when I was fucking down and out, where
Yeah.
where were my so-called friends?
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did the college thing, and then that's when I got with my my first wife, and I was dating her, and I wasn't doing shit here. So she was a student actually at Cal State in San Bernardino. So I decided to move up there, and it was weird because I didn't tell anybody, and I just left. And I got in a Greyhound actually, and I left and moved over there. And basically, I was working odd jobs, working at a warehouse, and basically, I wasn't. That's when my sister was with Ruben at the time, and he was in the Air Force, and I saw that he was doing good, so I said, "Fuck it, I'll try it out." But I got in when I was 26,
Okay.
and but this whole time I still had mental shit going on, so I was drinking a lot, and it wasn't good, and that's why my relationship ended with my first wife, because I was not good. I was in the Air Force. I was I would get violent, and just I was not good. So getting out of the Air Force, I came back, and I was still not good. That's when I was with my ex, and basically she left. And, she was tired of my shit, which is understandable, and
rightfully so.
and it took my wife at the time to give me an ultimatum. And this was fast forward to now I'm 39 years old.
Yeah.
In between that time, I was in a relationship, and I was out of a relationship, and then that's when our father passed away. And then finally she gave me one time we had a gathering at the house. We lived in Brawley, and I got drunk, and I made a comment about her grandma. Her grandma and her grandma treated her like shit for a long time, because her grandma, she had a rough life, and not justifying it, but she had a rough life, and she was not used to giving love and showing love. So one time I got so drunk that I started talking shit to the grandma, basically calling her a hoe,
Damn,
because
my
she had a lot
boy,
of
you
kids.
savage.
Yeah. So and then I started talking shit to her. I started talking shit to her brother. I told him, this is the Baeza house. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I basically kicking him out. I was a hot mess. And then finally she told me, "Hey, you gonna get your shit together or what? Because I'm fucking leaving if you don't."
Damn, I didn't even know this
took
happened.
that at 39 years old. They took that to, hey, I'm not, because I had lost so many relationships.
You didn't care.
In retrospect, no, I didn't care. Well, I did care about, but I wasn't right. So, she left, and then finally I said, I'm not losing this, because something about Shade, it from the first day from this first night I saw her, there was something about her that I don't know, it clicked. So I was like, no, I'm not losing her, because she's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
And sure enough, when I got my shit together at 39 years old, and I still had issues, but my perspective changed dramatically. I wanted to improve myself.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just with a state of mind where I'm trying to be positive, because she's just so positive. And I guess it kind of scared me, because she was so positive and happy all the time. So when I was mean, like, it would hurt more. And it took, she basically rubbed off on me so I can change.
Yeah. I got a question. I've noticed, seeing you grow up, you've always had a relationship. You've always been in relationships. Is there something to that? Did you always need somebody there? Did you always need to have somebody by your side to feel comfortable or something at some point?
Yeah, my attitude was I always thought I needed, excuse me, I always thought I needed somebody to be happy, to make me
Yeah.
happy. But that's not the way it is, because if you're not happy yourself, you're not going to make somebody else happy. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So that was my thought process. And that's kind of like, I don't know, it took me to be alone for, a little while, because I was never hardly alone, but I had to make time for myself. Even being in a relationship, even with Shade at the beginning, I wasn't right, and then I still had basically kind of isolate myself so I can get my shit together. Luckily, she stuck around.
Yeah. I get you.
Yeah.
I get
I
you.
mean, you're not the only one. I've seen a lot of cases like that where dudes like or females, they get out of a relationship and they jump into another one, and that one ends and they jump into another one. And it's like, what are you doing? You're just bouncing from relationship to relationship. And I think it's just people that need people with them to feel safe or secure. I don't know what it is. I don't think that way, but it's weird to me because I was alone for so long that I didn't have that mentality. I was like, I don't need anybody. I'm good by myself. And like to just be with somebody, even though maybe the relationship isn't working. You guys have arguments, fights, whatever it is you guys are having, but they stay together, and it's just because I don't. They just want to be there. They don't want to be
Mhm.
alone, and
And I
that's
think it
kind of
was
wild to me.
I think it was more of I didn't want a fear of abandonment.
Mhm.
There was always
Yeah,
that fear since when we grew up. Our dad, he would say he would show up and he wouldn't. So it was always that I didn't want to feel abandoned anymore.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and now and because of my attitude and the way I was, I kept being abandoned, or I wasn't abandoned, but they were just sick of my shit, which is understandable. So I think, yeah, I was trying to self soothe with other people,
Yeah.
which it's not the way to go. You have to fix yourself
Hey, some
yeah,
people do with food, some people do with
with
people
drugs. Yeah.
and I did it with drugs.
Hmm.
I did it with drugs.
yeah,
So like that was in rehab. They say there's all of these little ways that this disease that we call it can go in many ways. It can go in neuroticism. You could get high on your feelings, or like a lot of things. But what is the root of it all? Because it all comes down for one source. And usually we're going on about just the way that we think of myself, rather than I'm happy for what it's going on in my life, or I'm grateful, but why me, because I ask myself that a lot. Why me? Like, why the fuck did my dad have to die? And why and who do I get mad at?
Yeah.
And in turn,
Right.
yeah,
you can't get mad at anyone else, so you want to get mad, and you get mad at yourself, and you're like,
And that's where you figure out that life is just not fair, and
mm-hmm.
you can't be complaining about petty shit, because there's always somebody that has it worse.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
and that's just life. Life's not, life will deal you a shitty card and you have to run with it. But it's great to have a support system, because a lot of people don't, and they fall into the trap of drugs and whatever it is,
Mhm.
and they never get out. But thankfully, I've always had a support system. I've had you guys, I had Shade, my sister, my mom, everybody, just my tias, they help me a lot. I always talk to my tia Amalia. I always give her,
yeah,
I don't give her enough credit, because she's come through for me very, very much. A lot of times other people didn't. So I'm very thankful that I was able to get out of that and realize and fix myself.
Mhm.
And I had to
yeah,
be, at a certain point, I had to be a little selfish, because I was always trying to be a people pleaser, trying to please everybody. But no, I had to take the time and actually, work on myself and fix the kinks that I had in my brain or whatnot.
yeah. You
Mhm.
got to. And so,
Hmm.
do you feel like meeting Shade and probably like a couple years into that, maybe in your 30s already, that's when you fully felt like you grew up out of that toxic person you were? Like it took you that long?
Yeah, definitely. Well,
Yeah,
I was like like Danny. I was forced into a situation where she gave me an ultimatum, and she told me, "You gonna change?" Or, but I had already, gone through some changes then. But it was that moment where I started, just my attitude changed differently. Because I would wake up pissed at the world
Mhm.
all the time. Like you said, I would, why is this? Why me? Why is this happening to
yeah,
me? Why do I feel this way? And even to this day, I still, suffer from depression. I still have those moments, where I'm like, the hell's going on? Why is this all worth it? But no, and I snap out of it as best as I can.
yeah,
That's why I go train. That really helps a lot
yeah.
to help me focus.
You got to flip the switch.
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, because so me, I remember I had moved out of my mom's house, and I stayed at my friend's house. Um, I was staying at his house, and he actually got in trouble with the law, so he had to go to prison for a year. So I couldn't stay there no more. It was
No.
weird to stay there. So then I went to Goyo's house. Shout out to Goyo because he took me in. I mean, I didn't have nowhere to stay. I had like basically ran away from home, but not really ran away because I was already over 18. But I didn't have nothing, no money. I worked at a car wash with Goyo, and he's like, "Yeah, come to my house," And like you said, there's always someone to lend a hand, and he was that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He let me
There's
sleep on
always
his
someone.
floor. He let me borrow
Yeah,
his
dude.
clothes. He
Holy shit.
bought me food. Like we worked at the car wash together. We were just always together, bro. And it was so weird to have that relationship because I felt like at that time in my life I didn't have anybody, and I had you guys, but I kind of like separated myself from the family
Yeah.
for a bit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had our
and I
we
was a
all had our
kid.
own shit.
I was a
Yeah,
kid.
Yeah,
I was really
yeah.
we were
small.
all
For real.
dealing with
I
our own shit.
Yeah, I think that's when you were married, and you were in San Bernardino. Gina
Mhm.
was probably living in LA. Daniel was still a kid, so I felt kind of alone at the time. But he truly helped me out. I owe a lot to him for giving me his home, and it was so weird, because his sisters loved me. His parents were the mom was cool. The dad was more like a serious type of guy. Like I always think like in his head, like, what is this guy doing in my house? But they never, they,
Yeah.
but
eat
but
up
they,
all the food.
yeah, eating up all the food. But they never said anything to me personally. Maybe they did to Goyo, because it is uncomfortable at sometimes, especially if you have daughters, and there's some other guy in your house. You're gonna have questions, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I totally
Right.
like understand that part. But at that point, I was lost. Like I was
Yeah.
just, doing the drinking thing too. Hanging out, drinking like 4 days out of the week, just no
Oh
cares in the
shit.
world. Going to work hungover. And that's when I reached a point where my stepdad Antonio told my mom, like, you need to go talk to your son. And my mom's stubborn. She's super stubborn, so
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't gonna go out and tell me come home. It was until my stepdad said, like, go get your son because he's gonna get lost out there. He's gonna end up fucking
Mm-hmm.
homeless. He's gonna end up
Mm-hmm.
fucking on drugs. He's gonna end up drinking. He's like, go get him and tell him to come back. So she reached out to me, and I went back home. But I was still just living like a basic life, part time jobs. Like I wasn't fighting myself, and I was so pissed off at the world. Like I had that mentality, like why aren't I successful, but everybody around me is. And people were joining the border patrol, and I would apply and I wouldn't get in, and I was like, what the fuck, like what's going wrong? Why am I just getting pushed down? I applied for corrections, I got denied. Everything was just fucking denied, denied, denied. And for so long, I was just had that fucking mentality, like, is this it? Is this what I'm gonna be? A fucking part-time guy with no family, just bumming off his mom. But it wasn't until somebody reached out to me, a family friend reached out to me, and they're like, hey, there's a job opportunity in San Diego. I thought about you. I know you're in the field. Do you want to come try it out? And I was fucking scared, bro, to be honest. I had never left El Centro. I was scared. I was like, how am I gonna make it out there? I don't know anybody. I don't have a place to stay. I'm an overthinker, so I'm always thinking of the negatives. I don't think of the positives a
Hey,
lot.
and let's also it's also when you don't grow up with people telling you like you could do it, you could do it. Like
Yeah,
if you put it in a kid in the kid's mind ever since he's a kid, like you can do it. Like don't doubt yourself. Like all that bullshit, man. Don't doubt yourself.
Yeah, there was never really any encouragement.
I'm not saying
At
yeah,
least to my mom.
yeah. It's
I'll
tough.
be
It's
straight
tough.
out. There was, when I tried going to college, basically my mom and our dad said, if you go, we're not gonna support you.
Yeah, see.
But in
yeah,
retrospect, who knows how I would have, if I would have made it or not, because again, my state of mind was not right. So maybe they did me a favor.
Yeah,
Maybe they saved me from something.
everything works out. I mean, Beto was
Mhm.
saying that it's a lot.
yeah.
It could go on back. Sorry for cut you off, but that
No,
you
no, you're
just
good.
continue doing just living, and you're like, fucking. Why doesn't anything give? Why doesn't anything give?
Yeah, why
And
doesn't
you
anything
go.
happen for me? But it took a while to realize that you have to make it happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
gonna hand you anything,
Mm-hmm.
especially these government jobs. They're not gonna hand you anything. But yeah, so I took the job. in like 2 weeks they're like come to San Diego, and I was like, oh fuck, where am I gonna stay? So I went to San Diego. I found a friend with a studio apartment. I slept on an air mattress for like 6 months. Just driving to work and driving back, basically, because I had no money. I could
You
barely
guys,
afford the food. Go ahead, Daniel. What?
y'all were living. It was like fucking four y'all, but
Yeah,
five of us sometimes at one point, man, in the studio. That was
yeah.
when
We were
you
just
see, you like that's what it fucking takes, though. That's what it takes.
yeah. That's
That's what
what
it
it
really
takes.
takes. I mean,
That's
look
what
at
it
the
takes.
immigrants. Look at the
Yeah,
immigrants when they come over here, man. They're living like fucking 10 of them, 10 heads, man, 10 heads in like a little
yeah.
studio sometimes, and you're like, damn, how much? Damn, but that's what you have to
Like fuck.
do.
Yeah, and you realize like you take a step forward, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it feels like you took 10 steps back because now you're living in a studio with four other guys on a fucking air mattress, and you're just going to work and coming back, going to work, coming back. Like there's no fun. Like basically fun was just like a couple of talk cans in the living room,
Yeah,
which
just
if you
shooting
want to
the
call it a
shit.
living room, yeah, shooting the shit that was the fun. But you had your boys. That's all you needed at some point.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but as you moved on, like 6 months later, like we got like a 2 bedroom apartment. I got my own room. Things started looking better. But then you have issues, like Daniel said, you have issues. Roommate issues.
Mm,
Fights, bills. Shit you didn't think about. You got to get a car, a new car, because your old beater is messing up. So you start
too
dealing with this, and
expensive
then
to.
yeah, you start dealing with that, and then you're like, okay, so I came up again, but now I'm going back down. So it's just like a fight with life. Like you're trying to make it, and you keep getting pushed down. You're trying to make it, you get pushed down. But I just kept working, kept succeeding. Getting raises here and there, did my time, and I think that's like when I transferred to a store in Mission Valley. That's when I felt like, okay, I can say I'm a little proud of myself. I'm not super proud of myself. I wouldn't call myself successful, which brings me to that was one of the questions that one of the guys asked. He said, "How did you guys become so successful?" Let's answer that real quick. I don't think I'm successful, honestly. Am I comfortable? Yeah, I'm comfortable, but I wouldn't consider myself successful. Like, I don't think I'm at that level where I can say, I'm a successful person. But you also got to think about what do you consider success, right?
Yes.
Do how do you see your success? Do you see it just comfortably living with your wife, being able to afford groceries, a car, and all that good stuff? Or do you see success being a millionaire? There's so much levels to this. So I don't consider myself successful. I don't think I'm there yet, but he wanted to ask everybody. So what do you guys think you're successful?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think you gain success when you start becoming okay with where you're at and just doing something good every day so that you can go up, because success is not a destination. It will never be a destination. And they asked us that in developmental psychology. He's like, what do you guys consider success? Why are you guys even here and taking this class? Why are you guys here in this, taking this university? I mean, for all you know, you're not even going to like it. So what do you guys determine
Yeah.
success? And a lot of people said, making 3 figures a year, or making this, or and it's like, okay, you guys, he kind of cut everybody down from the tree, because it was like, okay, I'm making well over 4 figures, and it's not enough. It will never be enough.
Never is.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever enough. And so I determined myself successful because I got out of a mindset. And I think a
Yeah.
mindset can be a fucking prison. It can be a really, really hard prison to get out of. And once you get out of that, man, the sky's the limit. Everything else that comes, it's because I maintain grateful, and I maintain in faith that God was going to provide. And that's when I think I found success. When I finally accepted that God was going to provide without me worrying about everything. Yes, I'm not saying like, I'm just fucking skipping through. But if I did my
Yeah.
best, and I'm good right now, I'm successful. Because I was like on that tip for a little bit. Like, I don't feel successful. And then I started doing a bunch of shit. Now I feel successful. Just because I'm
Yeah.
busy all the time, and I'm not. I know that I'm not dicking around. I always got something
Yeah.
going on in an hour. I try to like just picture this hour, from this time to this time I'm going to be doing this. This time I'm going to be doing this, and this time is going to be for like recreation. And I've never done that before in my life, and I'm successful in that way. I might and I'm
Yeah.
successful in a spiritual way. You know, I got a lot of my own philosophies, and I got my own philosophy of how I live my life, and I'm kind of bettering it and everything. So, and I feel like I was successful when I just started living, really living, and like really taking in moments for what they were. Especially like when you're singing a birthday, and you see everybody around, and you realize that nobody gets around too often anymore, and you're like, holy shit, it's happening. This is the moment. This is the moment. Prepare, prepare. And you just
Yeah.
soak it in, man. You're like,
And that just shows you that everybody's level of success is different, right? I
yeah,
said
it
mine, and
is.
Daniel's was totally opposite to mine. So, Ivan,
Yeah, hey,
what do you feel?
Well, at this point in my life, I do consider myself successfully, physically,
mhm.
mentally, and spiritually. Career wise, I'm still getting there, but it took me to physically get better and mentally get better in order for now I'm seeing the fruits of my labor. I'm
Mhm.
seeing that hard work pays off, that nothing's, because I had the state of mind where I expected everything give it to me, and I was pissed why I didn't get it because I didn't fucking work for it. That's why. But when you have that state of mind where nothing's gonna fucking stop you, you keep going. And I'm proud of myself because compared to other 40-year-olds, they don't look as good as me. I'm just gonna say it. And in
Yeah,
that aspect, I
My
take care
boy
of
got that
myself.
confidence.
straight
Like
up.
that capo dance, that's right. And I've heard millionaires, and some billionaires say that they wish they can go back and get that time spent with their children. So I had learned that money is not everything. Of course, it pays bills and it makes your life easier, but at the end of the day, is it all worth it losing time with your loved ones? Because time, we can never get it back, especially when somebody passes
Yeah.
away. We there's always that what if. I mean, you shouldn't live with what ifs, but there's always, if you could have made time. And I don't want to live like that. I don't want to be at the end of my life saying, oh, what if I should have made time for this. I want to make time for it now, so I don't have that regret. So successfully, yes, I do consider myself successful at the moment. And there's and everybody's, like you said, everybody's different.
Yeah.
And
That's good.
you think about a guy who had everything. He had his house, he had his toys, he had it all, and then he falls sick.
Yeah, exactly.
All of a sudden, that success is not meaningful anymore because success right now would be life, health for you. That would be success. And so do you start to realize, okay, there's different kind of successes, and then there's like wants and then needs and then all that other,
Because
stuff.
I'll give you an example. Okay, there's examples say that the 65 old man that he had, he was successful, he had the money all he has, but he didn't take care of his health. So now that he's
Mhm.
65, he's retired, he wants to enjoy it, but he can't because his health is going to shit. So it's things like that made me think about, there's more important things than money, and
Yeah.
and financial success, but it is good. But I'm gonna get there financially, and we'll go from there.
Hey, there's a Pink
Yeah.
Floyd song that says, um, and then one day you find 10 years have got behind you. No one told you when to run. And then he goes on about, people becoming rabbits and just digging holes. And then you dig a hole, and then guess what? It's time to dig another one. And you're going to keep doing that until you decide to look around and realize and look at the sunset, look at everything, and take a chill pill, because
Yeah.
it's endless.
And also, and if I can add, I measure success as, I know I'm doing things that are extraordinary besides what people are going around. There's a lot of people that are living, just they're just going to work, getting a paycheck, but you look at their expression, they hate their job, they hate their life. They're not doing what they love, and I'm doing what I love, and I'm
Yeah.
still striving to do things that I love and with the people that I love. So that's why I definitely think I'm successful.
Yeah. I think I'm just like, my fiance always says, like, you're so hard on yourself. Um, I don't
That's my biggest problem.
I don't see it that way. Like I don't want to say, "Oh, I'm hard on myself," because when you say it, it doesn't sound right. But when she says it, like I can see what she's saying. Like if I
Hmm.
didn't get a job or I didn't get an opportunity, like I really bring myself down after it happens. And
Yeah.
and then she says that and I see it and I'm like, fuck, maybe I do. I shouldn't take it as hard as I do, but I feel like I just work so hard, that I thought I earned this opportunity. Not
Hmm.
deserved
Hmm.
the opportunity, but earned the
Hmm.
opportunity. And it doesn't happen, but she's like, it's okay. If you keep working, it's going to happen. So
We're
you know, I got
yeah.
we're our own
yeah,
worst critic, and me. I had the problem. I was always mind fucking myself. I'm not good enough. I'm not.
yeah,
But I had to change the mindset where I am good enough, and I'm gonna work for it.
Everybody has their time. Everybody has their time, and but the beauty of it is that you don't know when it's coming. So all you can do is just keep working hard, because one day it'll pop up, and then because if you weren't working hard and then the opportunity comes, guess what?
You
It's
won't get
it.
it.
You
Mhm.
won't get it because you didn't stay true to your own goal. You let all these little things, like um they say that they deny me. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. They deny me. Well, it wasn't part. It wasn't part of the plan,
yeah,
that's all right. And you have to. Sometimes it's stubborn, stubbornness on our part, and wanting things our way because we see this. But I mean, there's a whole different set of things going on in the background, and who knows that? What if you would have gone over there? I mean, it just makes me better and makes me help like ease rejection, like,
yeah,
okay, what if I would have gone over there and then something would have happened in your relationship, something would have happened in your relationship, something would have happened in your life over there. Fucking, you never know. You get in a car, sometimes there's a divine appointment, and you got to be
yeah,
somewhere and it's not there. So it's
And
all right.
yeah,
and and I was always scared of getting fired from jobs, but I learned if you're a hard worker and you're on your shit, if you get fired, you're gonna get another job.
You did
There's
your
more
best.
opportunities,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's what did happen to me, and that's how you prove yourself time and time again.
And this all has nothing to do with you. So like it has nothing to do with you if you did your best, so
yeah,
whatever because there's all kinds of bullshit that comes into especially in jobs, man.
yeah,
There's a lot of
Politics and
nepotism. Yeah.
favoritism, yeah, definitely.
yeah. So going back to the thing, like I didn't feel I grew up until I was in my 30s as well. You know, it took me a while to realize what growing up is. You know, it's not, and like Daniel said, like I think it's not just financially growing up. It's not just doing your own thing as a man. It's mentally growing up, and I think that's the most important one because it's a lot of little things like visualizing your mother and being like, damn, I was a piece of shit to her, as a kid, and change that attitude and change that relationship with her. Now
Hmm.
we've grown so much closer than when I was a kid because my mind just changed. Like the meaning of life changed. It's not all the dumb little things you think about. It's the people you love around you. Daniel,
Hmm.
Ivan, my mom, Gina, now Julie. Like that's when I realized like a lot changed in my life. And that's when I started thinking positive instead of thinking negative. Like, oh, yeah, I didn't get that job. There's a reason why I didn't get it, but it's
Hmm.
all right. It's not the end of the world. I'm a big
I'm
believer
still
in everything happens for a reason.
You're still loved. You
And you
still
have
you
Yeah,
still got your girl. You still got your family. Nobody's dead. Hey, like they would say,
yeah.
"Yola cuando alguien esté muerto,
Nobody's
güey."
dead.
Yes, bro.
and you know what? And
Nobody's
you have to
dead.
learn to
Yeah,
forgive yourself,
Yeah.
because if you don't
yeah,
forgive yourself, you're still thinking about, okay, you fucked up. People fuck up. But as long as you
yeah,
learn from it and make that change, then you're good. You don't have to deal with that shit anymore. I mean,
yeah, yeah. Well, no, I'm over it now. Like I
right,
did
right.
forgive myself,
Better.
but
That was a big
what?
problem for me.
Yeah,
And still to this day, I think about stuff that I've done to you guys. I've been mean. I mean, my mom for so many years. I mean, Antonio for so many years. But I know that I'm a better person now, and I know he'll be proud. He's proud of me, and I know all you guys are proud of me for the positive things that I am doing now.
I've
The
learned it.
strides I made.
I've learned. I've been on the route to self forgiveness and to recognize that everybody around you already forgave you, but it's time to forgive yourself so that you could keep moving. Because I was just always I catch myself just trying to please, 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 because I fucked up a lot of times. But it comes a point in life where like as long as you're doing your best, I'm cool with it. People
yeah,
forgave me for a lot of things and I respect. I respect it, and I also respect it if you just moved on. Because sometimes there's no forgiving. It's just like cool, we're good, we're good. I don't hate you, dude, but we're on our own paths.
Yeah, and that happens. You lose people in your life, and you
Yeah,
gain people in your life.
yeah,
That happens too.
yeah, and it's all right.
Hmm.
yeah. One thing,
But
like Ivan
like,
just said, I realized thinking a lot. Like, would my stepdad be proud of me of where I'm at and where
Definitely.
I was at and where I'm at now? And I
hell
think he
yeah,
would be. I think he'd be really proud.
yeah.
Um,
No,
so
who's
that
that? No,
pushes me.
Alberto, yeah. Ya se alivianó.
Yeah,
Se alivianó.
that's exactly what he was saying. Ya se
Ya agarró la onda.
Ya agarró la onda. Con la abuelita. but
Yeah.
Con la güera.
But,
Imagine,
you know,
imagine
one
if
thing-
he was around. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, one thing he told me that I always think about and I always take it with me everywhere was he said, I don't care if you're a lawyer, I don't care if you wash cars for a living, I don't care if you flip burgers for a living. He's like, I don't care. But just be the best person at it. If you're gonna flip burgers, be the best fucking burger flipper there is. If you're gonna wash cars, be the best car wash guy that's out there.
If you're gonna make beats,
yeah, if you're gonna,
make beats,
There you
make
go.
the beat
Make
like
the
Enzo,
best.
make the best
No,
beats, Enzo. No
Those funky
half-ass
beats
beats,
to it.
my boy. But
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? And that's the
Yeah.
mentality I take to work. You know, I see so
Mhm.
many people half-ass it, and I'm just, you know, going 100% every time because, you know, that's what he told me, and I'm gonna go by it. You know, I'm not gonna let him down. That just
And-
stays in my mind.
that I use that quote from my speech presentation, you know, because there's like I started growing mushrooms and I really like it, and I hope to get back into it. I've been taking a pause. It's a lot of work, but that was one of the things that made me open my eyes to the possibilities of what a man can do if you really set your fucking mind to something, you know, and like whatever it may be, and it's the only thing that's stopping you is
Is you.
yourself selling
Yep.
yourself short all the time. Like maybe I shouldn't go aim that high. Maybe I shouldn't aim that high. I'll just keep it here so I don't get sad if I get rejected. Fuck that, you know. Fucking the craziest thing you could think of that you want to do, you know, and it'll happen. Maybe it won't happen in the way that you thought because nothing happens in the way that you thought, but it's gonna happen in a certain way, and we're gonna learn to be grateful with that, you know.
Yeah,
You have to
I
listen to your
like this
intuition.
podcast. Like this podcast, you know, I was scared.
Yeah,
is
me
it gonna
too.
is it gonna be what I want it to be? Are we gonna be able to carry a conversation? There's so much
Yeah.
things that could go wrong, and there's so many people that like, you know, give me ideas or try to say like, do this, you know, do a live or do this. I'm like, we're not there yet. Like, slow down. It's not as easy as you think doing this. You know, it's not just press play and 3 people are talking to each other. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. But you know, it's a scary thought to try new things. But you know, once you do it, it's like, fuck, it wasn't that scary. You
It
know?
wasn't that
we got it done. Yeah,
hard. The
there
only
was
thing
trials,
the hardest
but yeah, go ahead.
the hardest thing was in here, you know, like
Yeah.
and then it's just like once you get the ball rolling, I mean, at this point we could try anything. Nobody, I mean, what we're gonna be like, no, fuck you guys.
And sometimes you just gotta not
Yeah,
not
fuck
listen to
you
people.
guys, you know, but
you gotta
yeah,
listen
like-
to people and just do what you want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
trial
like I
and
did
error, man.
I did the video of people bring your questions, you know, ask us questions. And only one person brought a question, you know. It is what it is, you know. Nobody wants to
there's
bring
one question
questions.
at least.
Yeah, there was one question. There's one person that we can answer and make them feel good, you know. Let them know how we think. You know, we don't have as crazy amount of views, but that's okay. If 10 people see it, I'm good with that. You know,
Yeah,
that's
as long
that's
as-
10
Yeah, if
people
one
that heard us.
person, we help one person, you know,
Yeah.
That's
change their
it.
lives. That's all I want.
Yeah, if one
That's-
fucking person, and if that person can just do good in their community, that would be a blessing for me indirectly, you know, and for all of us, you know, because it's like it's possible, you know. You don't have to keep sitting in shit if you are, you know, you don't have to keep sitting there.
Hey, about community service.
it's
So that's your one thing.
comfortable.
No, bro.
I know it's
If you do a
comfortable.
little
Getting
community
Martin King
service,
on me over here.
Dude, no, hey, I say that because if when you're on heroin,
service, I support you.
yeah, when you're on heroin, everything becomes so comfortable.
Never
and
been, bro.
you could just chill. Like the dumpster would be the best place ever because you just really was high, you
Damn.
know. So then you just got to stop living there, you know.
When you do heroin, Jesus
Nah,
Christ.
you know what? That's the fucking drug that. Nah, I'm like, I'm all set. I went to a party one time, and then all these dudes like they were like, "Hey, you want?" I thought they were gonna, you know, do something else, and they,
Civilized like
no,
cocaine.
yeah, something like that. And they straight out brought out the needles. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Damn.
I ran out of the bathroom. But I was like,
Saca la
nah.
bolsita.
Fucking wild, yo.
Yeah,
All right, man, smoking it, you know.
No, they straight out brought out the whole kid with the needles. I was like, "Whoa, I'm all
Damn.
set
Nice
here."
about it too, huh?
Yeah, you got a little,
Yeah.
little leather pack and shit.
A little
Drug use
kid.
is all-
Like Pulp Fiction,
alike.
fucking
Yes,
Vincent,
yes.
fucking character and shit. God damn, all bougie and shit. Nah, that was it. Yeah,
They
that's
had their
what I
own
do a
nurse
lot.
and everything. Like, all
You
right.
can only be so bougie until a certain point, and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking sell the case. I'm gonna sell everything because I really need this.
Yeah, that's taking it too far.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah,
is
yeah.
just all that
Just
stuff.
tad. It's like fucking
Just-
just
just
skipping.
tad.
You're just skipping to the end, man.
God damn, sir. Can you fix your issue, please? No, I'm not trying to do heroin.
Daniel, so now do you consider yourself successful and grown up? What are your next goals? What are your next goals in life to push
Okay.
that boundary?
Okay, so the next goal is to go through this SDSU joint. I'm gonna apply in October to SDSU,
Okay.
and I have a really good GPA. So just do the bachelor's program. But in that school, I'm gonna be making connections and just trying my best to just get connected in there and just, man, sometimes I'll fucking find myself in the museum or like in fucking random ass places just with random people because I know that it's gonna work out. I know that if I just talk to enough people, eventually it's gonna get the circles start getting really small. At once you start getting into like higher positions or in schools and stuff like that, the circles get smaller and they eventually start knowing you, and they're like, "Hey, dude, you're that kid that was there." I mean, like, I was taking I'll get back to it, but I was taking like a quick course on being a first aid
Today, Junior.
CPR?
no first aid, yeah, but for mental health. And so there I was there with a bunch of fucking random people. They were flying like from behavioral health and stuff, people that I would never talk to in my life, but I was sitting there just chatting, whatever. I'm Daniel, and because you never know when you're gonna see these people, especially in that
I'm
industry.
Little Zan.
Yeah, dude, you don't know this, but I used to do heroin. Pleased to meet you. Yeah, and they're like, "What? You don't even look like it." I know. How good. It's like
I survived.
How
That's
good,
why.
yeah, it's how good it is. It. I don't gotta really
Because I'm not doing it anymore.
and not too much battle scars. You know, how some people, it's like you go past the threshold. It's like, you just looking.
They expect you to be hunched over or something, your fucking back on.
No, but so, and then also just keep doing this podcast, and then just keep on working with creative projects with people, whether it be Enzo, like always, I got a camera, so just always doing different projects. I really want to like get into plants and everything, and then just continue going to national parks with my friends.
Yeah.
I really
That's
like
what's
the
up.
forest. I like the woods.
Sounds
and I
sounds like a good plan, G.
Dude, have fun. I'm gonna have fun. That's what I'm gonna fucking do, dude.
That's right.
We do-
life is so short.
We do want to start having guests. I think after episode 10,
Oh,
we're gonna look into arranging
got-
that.
I got a
What you
guest
got?
in. He's a historian from. He's a historian from the the Pioneers. No, not the Pioneers Museum. The museum down going to Ocotillo, and I met him
Oh,
because he
yeah.
writes books. He writes books. He's a good horror writer, and then he's a historian there. And
He's a good
he's-
horror
he's-
writer.
Yeah, horror or horror?
Horror.
He writes
Hey,
about, he
he-
writes
he-
about prostitutes.
He's
huh?
pimping. He's fucking pimping, dude.
Pimping.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
he's a good dude.
He's,
All right, well,
he's a
we'll-
good dude, and he knows a lot about the Imperial Valley and their origins. I think it would be cool to teach people about where we come from, how this place even got to, and all the indigenous. His specialty is in indigenous folks, and he's really involved in the indigenous communities that are surrounding here. And I think he's a good dude. It's really big talent of the valley, and I would like to showcase that. And
Okay,
Get him
yeah,
set up.
we'll work on that. Make it
He's
happen,
actually-
Cam.
he actually just wrote a book. His name's Plagued by Visions on Instagram, but he wrote a book, and it's gotten really big traction. So it's really cool to see that, as someone from here, from the valley. Yeah.
All right, that's what's up. All right, we'll end it with that. It was a pleasure, like always. And like I said,
See you
we'll
later.
have more guests in the future. But I love you guys. Thanks for
listening.
Thanks for
See you
coming.
later.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Deuces.
Peace
All
in
right,
the Middle
love you,
East.
broskies. Love you too, Enzo.
Got drinks, got smoke, got weed, got all the girls, got everything we need. And I see them all. But who brought the fat girl? Drink another, smoke another, get retarded. I know this where the party is, so get this bitch started. And if you want some liquor, girl, you can go and lick a 6 in the morning.